A single shot, barely louder than a cough, was capable of shattering armor and ending an entire command post before the first alarm. The Soviets engineered a weapon that erased the boundary between safety and annihilation, a heavy subsonic predator firing a 16.9-gram slug built for silent erasure. But how did mass, not speed, become the engine of modern mechanical horror? And what happens when defenders never see or hear their destruction coming? Inside Soviet weapons labs, the search for true silence led to a paradox. A projectile that moved slowly still hit harder than almost any rifle round of its size. The 9x39mm cartridge, chosen for the VSS Vintorez, was never about speed. Instead, it was built around mass. Each bullet weighed 16.9 grams, more than double that of a standard AK-74 round. This heavy slug, especially in its SP6 armor-piercing form, carried a hardened steel core and a sectional density of 0.34 kilograms per square meter. In the language of ballistics, sectional density measures how much weight is packed into a bullet's cross-section, a key to how deeply it can drive through barriers. By holding velocity below the speed of sound, no more than 300 meters per second, the VSS avoided the telltale crack that betrays most gunfire. But what it lost in speed, it recaptured in momentum. The 9x39mm round's momentum, more than 5 kilogram meters per second, allowed it to punch through body armor that would stop faster, lighter bullets cold. The secret was in the math. Kinetic energy scales with the square of velocity, but momentum is a straight product of mass and speed. When velocity is capped, only mass can do the work. The result is a round that moves like a slow, unstoppable piston, crushing through Kevlar and steel with a force that feels more like a hammer blow than a rifle shot. Armor that once gave defenders a sense of invulnerability became little more than a formality. Soviet engineers, led by Valery Krasnikov, designed the projectile to exploit this blind spot. The steel penetrator at the heart of the SP6 round was engineered to stay intact after impact, channeling all that momentum into a focused point. Even at 100 meters, the slug could pierce 6 millimeters of rolled homogeneous armor, enough to defeat the best NATO vests of the era. What defenders never heard was the silent approach of mass-driven destruction, the mechanical anomaly that rewrote the rules of survival. The VSS didn't just erase sound, it erased the very idea that armor could buy time or even a warning.
If you're enjoying this content, subscribe now.
In the quiet, the heavy slug became the final arbiter, delivering silent erasure with every pull of the trigger. Gas, once ignited in the VSS chamber, never follows a straight path to freedom. Instead, it is captured, redirected, and broken down by a suppressor that does not simply attach to the barrel, but consumes it. The barrel itself is pierced with spiraling rows of ports, tiny, precise holes that bleed off pressure before the bullet even reaches the muzzle. As the heavy 9x39mm slug travels forward, a portion of the propellant gases, about 40%, are siphoned away through these ports, spilling sideways into the first of two expansion chambers. Here, the violence of ignition is robbed of its sharp edge. The initial blast cools and slows, its pressure dropping before it ever threatens to announce itself. Surrounding the barrel, the suppressor's first chamber stretches 70 millimeters, a hollow ring that swallows the redirected gases and begins the process of acoustic erasure. But the true work is done deeper inside, where three tapered steel baffles, each separated by a fine mesh screen, stand in the path of the remaining gas. These baffles do not simply block, they fracture and scatter the gas stream, forcing it to twist and expand in a controlled cascade. By the time the gas reaches the muzzle cap, its energy is spent, its voice reduced to a muted thump, often indistinguishable from background noise at close range. The geometry of the suppressor is both brutal and elegant. Each baffle is angled to catch the gas at its most turbulent, stripping away velocity and heat. The interior surfaces are ceramic coated to resist the carbon residue that would otherwise build up and degrade performance. This coating is not just a nod to longevity, it is essential for maintaining the rifle's signature silence across 5,000 rounds, the service interval set by Tsnitok MASH engineers. Maintenance is a ritual. The suppressor must be disassembled, scrubbed and checked for hairline cracks in the baffles, each flaw a potential leak that could betray the operator with a single sharp report. Unlike detachable suppressors, which add bulk and leave seams for gas to escape, the VSS system is integral. Removal disables the rifle entirely. The gas system is tuned so precisely to the suppressor's back pressure that the bolt will not cycle if the suppressor is absent. This interdependence is by design. The weapon and its silencing apparatus are inseparable, a single mechanical organism bred for quiet predation. The result is a sound profile that hovers around 130 decibels at 1 meter, low enough to vanish beneath the hum of traffic or the rustle of leaves. For defenders, the effect is complete sensory denial.
If you're enjoying this content, subscribe now.
In the space between the trigger pull and the impact, there is only silence and then sudden collapse. The VSS does not just suppress a gunshot, it erases the very clue that violence has occurred. A team of 4 moves through the darkness, each member assigned a precise role. 2 operators carry VSS rifles, the others manage entry and rear security. The target is a command post, 3 rooms, reinforced doors, a single narrow corridor. At 2:13:42, the breach begins. First operator slips a charge, silent and controlled, blowing the lock without triggering alarms. In the next instant, the lead shooter advances, VSS raised, the suppressor's bulk almost lost in his grip. Inside, the defenders are arrayed in a triangle, 1 at a desk, 2 at communications equipment. The team's timing log begins. First shot, a muted thump, the 9x39mm Slug passing through body armor, cutting the guard's warning short. The second operator, cross angle, fires in sync. The second and third targets collapse before a single shout escapes. Each engagement is spaced by no more than 2 seconds. The only sound, the cycling of the bolt and the faint click of spent casings on linoleum. The entire neutralization phase is over in less than 12 seconds. The VSS's suppressed report never exceeds 130 decibels, blending into the background hum of equipment and distant city traffic. Acoustic sensors, calibrated for higher thresholds, register nothing abnormal. The team's rear guard signals clear, the exit path is already mapped. Within 180 seconds, the team is gone, leaving behind only silence and 3 bodies. No alarms, no radio calls, no sign that violence ever touched the room. The choreography is exact, the erasure total. In the language of clandestine doctrine, this is the silent trap made real. Forensic labs began with blocks of calibrated ballistic gel, each one marked with a single, silent wound. The SP6 round fired through the VSS carved a cavity 12 centimeters wide, an impossible void for a subsonic bullet. Temporary stretch measured at 4 centimeters deep mimicked the kind of trauma reserved for high-velocity rifles. But there was no sonic crack, no warning. Sound pressure meters set 1 meter from the muzzle recorded peaks of 130 decibels just above a subway train, but below the detection threshold for most military-grade acoustic sensors of the era. In field tests, the VSS's muted thump vanished beneath the hum of air conditioning units or the pulse of distant machinery. Scanning electron microscopes revealed the truth inside the wound. Fragments of copper jacket and a hardened steel core left a signature pattern, long, narrow, unmistakable. NATO analysts poring over these forensic details faced a dilemma. Existing perimeter arrays built to trigger at 140 decibels or higher registered only silence. In 1993, a declassified annex to STANAG protocols recommended new sensors tuned to catch events as low as 120 decibels. The VSS had become the benchmark for suppressed fire. Technical cables from the CIA's Directorate of Operations described a silent anomaly, a weapon that slipped past acoustic tripwires and left only clinical evidence in its wake. Within months, procurement offices across Europe issued urgent requests for upgraded detection grids. Directional microphones, previously an afterthought, became mandatory for command posts and ammunition dumps. The VSS had forced a doctrinal recoil. No longer could any perimeter, no matter how wired or watched, be trusted to warn of its own erasure. The silence itself had become the threat. Today, armies build new walls and sensors, but the principle remains. Silence is no longer safety. The VSS's heavy subsonic slug rewrote the rules, turning calm into vulnerability. In a world obsessed with noise, the true threat moves quietly, leaving only the aftermath. What defenses endure when violence is silent?
If you're enjoying this content, subscribe now.